Manasseh or Menashe was, according to the Book of Genesis, the first son of Joseph and Asenath. Asenath was an Egyptian woman whom Pharaoh gave to Joseph as wife, and the daughter of Potipherah, a priest of On. Manasseh was born in Egypt before the arrival of the children of Israel from Canaan. Personal history. Jacob, Joseph's father, adopted Joseph's two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, to share in Jacob's inheritance equally with Jacob's own sons. He is counted as the founder of the Israelite tribe of Manasseh, one of the 12 Israelite tribes. Jacob also blessed Ephraim over his older brother. Manasseh in Hebrew means forgetful. Manasseh had a son, Ashriel, with his wife, and Machir with his Aramean concubine. Numbers chapter 32 verse 41 and Deuteronomy chapter 3 verse 14 refer to a son called Jair, who took all the region of Argob, as far as the border of the Geshurites and the Maachathites, and called Bashan after his own name, Havoth-Jair. Biblical criticism. Some biblical scholars view this as post-diction, an eponymous metaphor providing an etiology of the connectedness of the tribe to others in the Israelite confederation. The text of the Torah argues that the name of Manasseh is etymologically derived from the root nazar, which means to forget, and goes on to argue that it refers to Joseph forgetting his troubles and his father's household, on account of the actions of God. Other scholars maintain that the name is of Egyptian rather than Hebrew origin. In the biblical account, Joseph's other son is Ephraim, and Joseph himself is one of the two children of Rachel and Jacob, the other being Benjamin. Biblical scholars regard it as obvious, from the geographic overlap and the treatment in older passages, that originally Manasseh and Ephraim were considered one tribe, that of Joseph, according to several biblical scholars. Benjamin was also originally part of this single tribe, but the biblical account of Joseph as his father became lost. A number of biblical scholars suspect that the distinction of the Joseph tribes is that they were the only Israelites which went to Egypt and returned, while the main Israelite tribes simply emerged as a subculture from the Canaanites and had remained in Canaan throughout. According to this view, the story of Jacob's visit to Laban to obtain a wife originated as a metaphor for this migration, with the property and family which were gained from Laban representing the gains of the Joseph tribes by the time they returned from Egypt. According to textual scholars, the Jahwist version of the Laban narrative only mentions the Joseph tribes and Rachel, and doesn't mention the other tribal matriarchs whatsoever. In the Torah, the eventual precedence of the tribe of Ephraim is argued to derive from Joseph tricking Jacob, blind and on his deathbed, into blessing Ephraim before Manasseh. The text describing this blessing features a hapax legomenon, the word which classical rabbinical literature has interpreted in esoteric manners. Some rabbinical sources connect the term with sekel, meaning mind, wisdom, and view it as indicating that Jacob was entirely aware of who he was actually blessing. Other rabbinical sources connect the term with shekel, viewing it as signifying that Jacob was despoiling Manasseh in favor of Ephraim. Yet other rabbinical sources argue that it refers to the power of Jacob to instruct and guide the Holy Spirit. The Book of Chronicles states that Manasseh was married to an Aramean concubine, and that they had two sons, named Ashriel and Machir, in the Torah's genealogy of Manasseh's family, which textual scholars ascribe to the earlier priestly source. Ashriel instead appears to be the son of Gilead, the son of Machir. Near the end of the book of Genesis, according to some English translations of the Bible, Manasseh's her children are described as having been brought up upon Joseph's knees, while other English translations render the same text as born upon Joseph's knees. The gloss for this passage given by some English translations is that her children were adopted by Joseph as his own children at the moment they were born. The Targum Pseudo-Jonathan argues that Manasseh had been a steward in Joseph's Joseph's household, and had acted as an interpreter between Joseph and his other brothers. This Targum also mentions that Manasseh had unusually large strength. Bible scholarship. British Israelite Herbert W. Armstrong of the Worldwide Church of God, in a book called The United States and Great Britain in Prophecy, claimed the United States was a ruminate of the tribe of Manasseh. He gave as evidence the blessings from Jacob to Ephraim and Manasseh, and a princess of the northern kingdom of Israel, who fled to the isles of the north with 2 tribesmen of Ephraim and Manasseh.